Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Football Sevens. I'm IDP Iggy here today with my very special guest, Sam Whitley, man, running up that TanneHill Geronimo division, Danny Trejo League. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. How we doing? I'm rocking my Cowboys Training Camp 2004 Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket.
The ticket, baby.
For
Hey,
those
man.
OG Johnson County folks.
Yeah, man. Hey, I love it, Sam. You gotta be an old Dallas head, DFW head to know about the ticket, man. Back way before pop radio or talk radio and stuff was popular, the ticket. I've been holding it down. Randy Galloway and the gang, man. You can always catch the game over there. So yeah, man. Shout out to the DFW people. Shout out to the Cowboys fans. Real quick, I want to shout out to Kawasaki's disease. I always want to remind people. Remember, if you're seeing these symptoms in your children, there is a correlation with COVID. So make sure if you see any of these things like this, that you go talk to your doctor immediately and make sure it's not Kawasaki's disease. You won't have long. My daughter was in there. Like I said, we got this band from them. We got some stuffed animals, some informative things. I didn't know what Kawasaki's disease was. I thought it was a dirt bike, four-wheeler from coming over where we come from, Sam. But it's not. It's a very serious disease. It affects leading reason for acquired heart disease in developed nations. So please keep that in mind. Please take a look. I do want to give everybody a reminder that I do have some stickers. We're about to get some more memorabilia, but there's some Fantasy Football 7 stickers. I tried to hand them all out at the expo. I got a few. We're going to set something up. If you're not following me, make sure you can follow me on all those, dude. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, if you're watching this. And then, of course, my Patreon. How would you say that? Is it Patreon? Because it's not like a real word, but it is a word,
Patreon. That's
Patreon. Patron. Okay, yeah, Patron. Make sure you follow me because that's where all my written articles are. All right. I like to make sure you guys go there. They're all free. You can sign up for a tier if you want to look at your fantasy team, talk about bets, etc. But all the written articles are for free right there. I want to give a shout out to Mace. Thanks for being a part of it, man. Let's go, Fantasy Football Sevens. I know you're tuning in. I really appreciate it. And Sam, I'd like to tell everybody the story on how we officially met. We're from the same county in Texas. All right, DFW. It's actually considered. Not a rural, what's the opposite? Urban. It's actually considered an urban county. Although when Sam and I grew up there, I don't think it was considered very urban very much. I would consider it more definitely, especially my end of the county, a lot more rural. But we met up at Texas State, man. Would you like to tell the story about how we officially met at Texas State?
Yeah, I joined I feel like this class should be required. It's the backpacking class at Texas State. Just get a rec credit, mark it off your list and everything. And the teacher for this class, she said, okay, you have to find a tent mate, and it has to be somebody you don't know. I didn't know anybody in this class, and I don't know, man. I saw your vibe, felt the energy. I just looked over there. I was like, and we made eye contact. I was like, dude, we're gonna be tent mates for this weekend. And yeah. That's how it went, and that was just like match made in heaven. We just the fact that it's like, oh my gosh, like you're from Johnson County, I'm from Burleson too. Like, oh man, yeah.
Hey, and by the way, Burleson is the home of Kelly Clarkson. For people listening that don't know, it's so there's the famous name connection to our county. Okay, and he's from the same town, Kelly Clarkson.
She is she's the second most famous person coming out of that town.
After you, or
after me, of course.
Yeah, man. I knew it, man. I knew it. No, yeah, Lost Maples State Natural Park. If you're in Texas and you've never been there, make sure you go check it out because it's a beautiful little area. If you go there in the fall, you get this amazing little string of red trees. We had been there. We partied it up. We were definitely the cool people. We brought all the gifts to make everybody happy, man. But Sammy, man, let's talk about Fantasy Football Sevens, man. You are an OG. You've played in this format all 3 years that it has been around. You've seen it grow from 16 to 96 teams. You've made the playoffs. What are just some of your general thoughts and advice for people out there listening that might be their first year? Just your thoughts and advice about how this is going.
So first things first, just donate. It's a free league. Just throw in $20, $40. Like, it's easy. It's not that hard. Like, donate to the good cause. Just do it. It's a free league. In most other fantasy leagues, if you have multiple fantasy leagues, you're going to pay anyway. So just donate. It's nothing. That's first things first.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Second thing is defense is king. I mean, defense scores the points. And, that's yes, your actual team defense, but also your individual defensive players. And so that's really what I love about this league is adding that extra element. I've done so many fantasy leagues where it's like, okay, yeah, your receivers, and I felt like it just got a little bit boring. And so adding that extra element of, TJ Watt, like throwing up sacks last year, he saved me. And that was amazing. But then, not everybody's going to be a sack monster, so you got to figure out, okay, who can get the most tackles, Trayvon Diggs, he did great scoring getting all those picks last year, but when it comes to fantasy, he didn't do that much. And that really is, that's the beauty of fantasy is some people can be fantasy kings and lockdowns for your team, but they may not do well for the actual football, really, so that would be my advice is really, kind of separate that it is fantasy. It's just a game. I know I used to have my Sundays just ruined because I was getting my butt beat. And, my wife is just like, what's your problem? I'm like, oh, my fantasy. And it's like, it's just fantasy. Like, let's just have some fun, y'all.
Yeah, especially with the charity league. I do want to remind you can win. Oh, it's always backwards. A tie-dye jersey that I make, or a tie-dye shirt for being a league champion. You definitely can win it all. Get an IDP jersey. I was about to pull one out. It would be a mess. But you get stickers. You're going to get a prize pack you get to choose your team. Watch the guy break down the cards brand new. Just gave away like a 1 in 5 card. If you're really into selling stuff. I have so much collectibles. I got to start getting there too. But yeah, Sam, you nailed it on the head. The defense, the IDPs, the weekly streamers. One thing I like about it is, and shout out to Tyler. Thanks for hopping on. Tyler, the champ, is here, hanging out in the Robin Williams division. That's a very tough division, or league, excuse me, Robin Williams league. Good luck over there. Tyler's going to be bringing it every year. But yeah, dude, it's there's enough. What I love about it is like some people are like, how come you only have 5 bench players? I was like, well, because we have 16 teams. You got to have 7 starters on both sides of the ball. I need to be able to have some depth in that waiver wire so you can cover that. And there's always money at the banana stand. There's always value in the waiver wire pick. You can go check that out. Always make sure you're checking your waivers. Remember, guys, the waivers open. I have the season open just like the NFL. I tried to replicate a mini NFL. NFL team has to cut their roster. Maybe you need to cut your roster to make a legal move. I had to do that. I like to keep people on the IR, keep them there to the very start of the season before I have to make a move, and then I'll make my cuts. Guess what? I got to cut down. You can make moves just like the NFL. Can't think, Fulgham. Travis Fulgham got cut. Green Bay went and scooped him up. Right now, Joe Sherbert, great IDP, bouncing around from Denver, going all kinds of places, Packer backer to win the league with Tua. Sorry ahead of time. Yeah, I'm okay with that, man. That's okay with me for you to do that, to win it. Packer backer winning it with Tua. Build your team how you need to build it, man. There's an old expression, and where we grew up, I've done a lot of catfishing. We grew up where Sam and I grew up. I've skinned so many catfish, it's not even ridiculous. Enough to feed our whole league, let's say. But most people don't do that. So what the expression is, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, nobody's really done that. So I like to say there's more than one way to pet a cat. You can do that, man. You're ready for a Packer backer to win with Tua? Go for it. There's not a wrong or right way to win this formula. And Sam, before we start talking about this year, real quick, talk about your first year experience. Put up 300 points in the playoffs, had one of the best teams in the regular season, but what happened?
Well, so first things first, to Brother Roz, we'll talk about my team, but I happen to pick up good old Teddy Bridgewater. And the reason why is because all that talk about Tua, it's all hype, man. Everyone's, he's gonna blow up now that he's got Tyreek Hill. No, dude, he is not going to do anything. He's either going to get hurt or he's not going to perform, and they're going to bring in old reliable TDTB, Teddy Bridgewater. So there's my rebuttal to you, Brother Roz. That first year, man, What happens is I'm putting up points. I'm rocking and rolling. And then I get to the playoffs, and then I start getting in my head and I start tinkering. I start going, oh, well, so and so he's done good, but then I heard on another podcast that he's not going to do good this week. Maybe, okay, I'm going to sit him this week. This guy, he's coming up. He's this. Oh yeah, he's going to do better this week instead. And then I just tinker. I tinker and I tinker and I tinker, and I end up shooting myself in the foot. And it's happened to me so many times. I mean, last year in the finals specifically, I remember it was between those like three Philadelphia running backs, like Gainwell, Boston Scott, and I like picked them all up, and I was like, okay, Scott did good last week, but they're going to play Gainwell this week, and I tried to tinker too much, and nope.
Yeah, that's right. You made it to the finals last year too, huh?
Yeah.
Against Cernomial, right?
Yep.
That's right, man. So yeah, you guys need to take some Sam's advice, man. He's going to be coming it this year. Sam. I had to bring up those old memories, man. I forgot that you did lose the Cernomial last year too. But 2 years, 2 playoffs appearances, championship. Third year could be the hump, man. You know what I'm saying? Like this could be the year for you. Let's take a look at how your team is built, my friend. Our draft. Let me explain something to people in our draft. We were both in the Danny Trejo League. He's in the Geronimo division, right? But we'll save him talking about that one until later, because you can talk about your buddies and bring in your friends and stuff. But if everybody can see that right now, I'm going to list it off real quick. We have Ryan TanneHill, JT, Jonathan Taylor. Can you remember where you got him?
He was my first pick. I remember specifically, and I was the second pick in the draft.
Second pick, okay.
Yeah, and I remember specifically, I was like, okay, in this league, quarterbacks have a lot of value, and everybody says, oh, don't pick quarterbacks first. But in this league, they've got a lot of value. And the reason why is because it's a 16-team league with 2 quarterbacks. So they go quick. And I was like, okay, if that first pick guy picks JT, then I'm going to pick up Josh Allen. If he picks up Josh Allen, then I'm going to pick up JT. And what do you know? He picked up Josh Allen, so I got JT, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, so this is from the second position. Yeah, and JT's great, man. I mean, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
By the way, the team name is Runnin Up That TanneHill. Thinking about giving away some free stickers to the best team name out there before we get started on the year. That one's going to be hard to top. I love TanneHill too.
Go with the Kate Bush is popular now, so.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking of Forrest Gump. I'm pretty sure, I don't know why, just him running up that in the desert, But we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire in your RB2. You got Mike Williams and the wide receiver 1. Alan Lazard went the interesting route of grabbing one of the best tight ends out there. Tight end 1 last year, correct? Mark Andrews, throwing them in your flex, and then you got Mac Jones in your super flex. Very good. I think you got bye weeks covered with 6 and 10 there. Very good stack on your QBs. Let's get down to the meat of it. IDPs. Matt Judon, I had him last year. Great. TJ Edwards, fantastic. Kenny Moore the second. A great IDP, great versatility, 2 linebackers and a DB in your IDP flex spots. You got Brian Suckup holding it down for Tampa Bay. You should be getting a lot of points if you think Tampa Bay is going to score a lot. San Francisco defense, what's there not to like there? They've been improved all across the board. Nick Bosa, you get points every time he sacks. Then we got Aaron Donald in the defensive lineman. Chandler Jones in the linebacker spot. Jeremy Chin, you selected early in the DB spot. And then real quick, we'll talk about your bench. I want you to come back and talk about Jeremy Chin a little bit. Teddy Bridgewater. What's the rookie's name for Tampa Bay? I can't think of his first name.
White.
Rashad White. Then you got Jay Dotson, which, how do you say his name again? His first name?
Jahan?
Yeah, it's a little bit different enunciation. So I just say Jay Dotson. I think he's excellent. I think Washington's going to be throwing the ball a little bit more than people realize. And then Burks with your rookie to round up your wide receiver room. So 4 offensive guys, and then you went with the team defense. Very good strategy to have rotating defense. And I think you have, honestly, I kind of like where did your team D go? Right over here. It's up here. Oh, San Francisco. Duh, I couldn't find it. Sorry. Yeah, so you got San Francisco and the Colts, AFC and an NFC team. I think the Colts could be the best defense in the market. But why don't we talk about real quick about Jeremy Chin and the selection of him in the third round?
Yeah. So, so during the draft, I was in Big Bend and I did not have any service. So I like got service. I was in and out. I got service, got JT, cool. And then, with that 12-hour draft, 12-hour pick time, it's just like, okay, I can't wait around. And so I set all of my queue as big as I could. And Jeremy Chin was way, way down there. And I had to set an auto draft, an auto pick. So I picked up Mark Andrews, and he was actually my plan for my second pick.
Okay.
But for my third, I was trying to get a quarterback. I was trying to get Dak, but somehow Jeremy Chin snuck in there. And I mean, he's not the greatest, but he is a dual designation, and that is really going to help us in this league.
Yep.
And the big thing is it's not ideal, but I really did not feel right gumming up the works and doing that 12-hour, taking up that whole entire 12-hour time and slowing everybody down. And for what? It would have I still might have been out of service, and it still might have picked Jeremy Chin anyways. And so I was just like, you know what? Like, just take one for the team. And, I'm still not upset. I still got Aaron Donald, a solid IDP. So I'm not that upset.
No, you have great IDPs. Like I said, I really love Matt Judon as well. Like I said, he's got a dual designation as well.
I'm afraid he's going to I'm afraid he's going to bust because I'm afraid people are going to double team him, but we'll see.
We'll see. The Patriots are going to have to stay in with their defense, and I trust Bill Belichick to have it. But, Jeremy Chin as well, Aaron Donald, and who was your main linebacker? I forgot already.
I forgot already, too.
That's all right. Don't worry about it, man. But, yeah, real quick, before we go, a Big Ben connection and fantasy. So you were on hold my very first fantasy football championship. My roommate, I'm at Texas State. I get off probation. He's like, let's go somewhere. So we went to Big Ben. And we climb Emory Peak. We're out there during the championship Sunday. No service like you talk about. So we go to the peak of Big Bend National Park, Emory Peak, and I'm up there, and we turn on our cell phones, and we were playing each other. That was the kind of the agreement. We were playing each other in the national champion, or my first fantasy championship. I went on to play him again 8 years later. He beat me, but like we played there. We turned it on. I crushed him. I had Brandon Marshall, Aaron Rodgers, Megatron, I had Levante David. I had some really good players that just carried me to our first. And it was the same format, 16 teams, just like this. So it's kind of weird, the Big Ben connection. You're drafting. I won. We found out there. It's pretty cool. But speaking of Big Ben, another weird Big Ben connection. Geronimo was actually out there. The Mescalero Apache Reservation is just north of Big Ben, actually.
There you go.
And then so he's out there. So here you are, Geronimo, which is the character played by Danny Trejo in Blood In, Blood Out. If you haven't seen that, you'll probably have at least heard Vatos Locos Forever and all that stuff. It all kind of comes from that movie. Great movie. But you're in the division. Let me pull it back up, man. I got your screen loaded. Let's talk about this. As a perk about being in fantasy football sevens, being an OG like Sam, it's like you want to invite a whole league. It's kind of hard to see there. Let me read it off to people. But it's right there. How do you say that? Sayakrin?
It's just his first name's Corey. So Corey Yukon.
Okay, I like that. I like the misspelling that. And then McNarly, Minster, and you. You said you didn't know one of them. I didn't know whenever they all came in, but you got a couple of your buddies in your division. Let's talk about that a little bit. What makes fantasy football so fun with the rivalries? How are you going to plan on beating these guys? What's your path?
Yeah, so these three guys, Corey, Ryan, and Mitch, we went to college. We roomed together all 4 years. And so that's one of my favorite things about fantasy is, this is a way for us to keep in contact and to bond, that is kind of thing that they've done studies on is like men bond through doing things, you know? And so, you know,
Right.
Mitch is up in New York, Corey's in Houston, Ryan's in San Marcos, and, you know, we can't all get together, but with fantasy, we can get together. We can talk trash. We can, you know, just bond. And, you know, we've got our own separate group chat. We were talking trash about other people in the draft. And man, it was, you know, it's just a good time, you know. Corey's a big Steelers fan, so love dogging on him.
Absolutely, yeah. Let him have it. But that's a great point. That's an aspect of fantasy. It does keep you together. And like I trash talk with the people that I know. Like you just talked about. Like if I know you, I'll trash talk with you. You know, if I don't really know you, I really don't. But it is one of the most fun aspects of it. Like I can't believe you just dropped this person to pick up that guy. What are you thinking, dude? You know, like are you trying to lose? Are you trying to get, you know, just like any kind of little smack talk with your friends is fun. And that is the beauty of fantasy. And it is like a true thing with males. You know, there are always some kind of task usually associated with bonding with the male, you know, and it is a great way to do it. It connects people from all around the country. We got, you know, people from all around the world in this league. And it's pretty neat, man. I hope you destroy them. Looks like, let me see what you're going to, if you do make it to the playoffs a third consecutive year and I make it, you better going to have a problem right here, as we would play each other in the second round of the playoffs if we both made it that far.
We're going to lose in the NFC championship game like the Packers always do anyways. I'm not worried.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Packers going all the way this year. If you didn't catch it, remember, Pack Attack comes on an hour before this show, guys. If you're a Green Bay fan, come check it out. If you're not a Green Bay fan, come check it out. All right, it's a lot of fun. We do betting, talk about the week before. A lot like this show, okay? Once this gets going, we're going to have games of the weeks on Fantasy Football 7. We're going to highlight people's teams. There'll be one across all 6 leagues that gets the ultimate game of the week. We'll talk about that one in the video. But stay active in your league chats, everybody. You know, I try to keep it fun. I'm going to pick it up a lot. Your schedule should already be fixed. All of these things should keep you entertained. You know, I realize it's a charity league, so a lot of people sometimes lose interest. Try to make sure that doesn't happen for us in this league, okay? Yeah, right there. I got to get past a pretty good division. You got to get past your buddies, and that's pretty interesting. We're all Texas State. So when y'all had that backyard with the rock climbing wall, that was all those guys?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was me and McNarly. By that time, Corey and Mitch had moved to a different place, and that was like after we graduated too. So, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, we hung around a little bit. Sam, let's talk about it. My Super Bowl prediction is purely out of heart, but also very plausible. Green Bay over the Broncos. You know, I've lived now in Colorado for about 10 years. Denver's been the closest big city to me. Well, Albuquerque's close, but they don't have as many professional teams. So naturally, you know, I'm about Denver in a lot of ways. So that's my prediction. It was Packers versus Broncos, with the Packers winning. You actually chose what I think there was about 4 people that chose that, or 5. I think only 2 or 3 of you chose the Cowboys. Why don't you talk about the actual teams and how you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a lot. It's not. I feel like, yeah, like you said, it's not just me. I mean, the Bills are really good. I mean, and every year it's like, okay, is this going to be their year? Because oh man, they are just stacked, man. And I believe them. They got to work on their run game a little bit, but who needs it? Josh Allen is their run game.
Yeah,
so, and then Cowboys, we always got a chance. It's, you know, we just got to learn how to not get a million penalties every game. We've got a lot of it's just mental problems, and it comes down to discipline, really. And I just wish Mike McCarthy would just be a little bit more disciplined. And I mean, he's won a Super Bowl with the Packers, like good on him. But I just wish he would be a little bit more disciplined on the guys. And, you know, that would really, it does translate. It really does translate in the penalties department. And so every year I've got my money on the Cowboys, and especially this year, we may not have a good receiving core again, but I feel like that's actually going to be our ringer. There's going to be one breakout guy that nobody knows. And this is a reason why I love rookies. And I every year I draft at least one rookie running back or a rookie wide receiver, because there's something about them that they break through. There's something about them. Rookie quarterbacks, no, stay away from those. But rookie quarterbacks, I mean, last year I had Najee Harris, and he was great, you know. The couple years ago when I did win the championship in another league, that's when I had Leonard Fournette's breakout season. I mean, it was so second-year quarterbacks and rookie running backs. That's my hack. That's my advice.
You know what? I have a little bit, like you said. So to break that down, he has the Cowboys beating the Bills in the Super Bowl. Early '90s, reliving the glory days.
Of course.
But I think both those teams have potential. Mike McCarthy does have to cut down. He has to become more disciplined on his team. It's very apparent. More disciplined within himself, I think, too. But, you know, you talked about it. I think that's a good point to make. You didn't say the name of who you think is. Is it going to be the guy that returned the kicks, or
Tolbert?
Tolbert returned those kicks?
Was it Tolbert? Ooh, maybe.
I don't know. I like Tolbert, too. I've done over about 100 best balls over the past couple months. And I've steadily watched his ADP go up. I was a James Washington guy. I was like, James Washington's about to just go off for the Cowboys. And then he comes out. He had a broken foot all summer. He's like, first practice, makes a jump, comes down on the foot, breaks it again. Man, it sounds like he tried to come back a little too early. I feel bad for him. I really do. Turpin. He's saying it was Turpin. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Thank you, Brother Oz. That is who it was. He could do it. Let me tell you something about a Mike McCarthy offense. They're going to generate yards. They're going to generate points. It's just how it is. But like you said, it's their discipline. And I don't know how it's going to be. Me personally, my whole point with this is I've been taking Tolbert a lot. He's, you can get him at about running back 30, 32. He's somewhere in there, late 20s, early 30s. I think he's going to line up a lot as a wide receiver. He was a wide receiver at Memphis. And Dak Prescott can carry three options, four options. It's been proven again and again. I think Zeke's going to have a great year. That's not who I'm trying to say. I'm just saying I think Tolbert, especially in a PPR format, keep in mind fantasy football sevens is a half-point PPR format. But in a PPR format especially, which most best balls are, I'm going after him, man. I think I'm not ever going to – I don't know if Dak can take y'all to the promised land. Like now that we have like the full like resume compared to Tony, I think Tony was a better quarterback. I just think Dak has a more complete team. So with that being said, that's pretty cool. I think the Cowboys will be good. I think the Eagles will be good. The Bills are heavy favorites. I'm going to have my first episode. I had my first episode of Package Time before this. We're getting ready to load up Jailhouse Bets, a little bit of a comedic skit about betting. But there's a bet for the Bills and the Eagles to make the playoffs. It seems like guaranteed money has been boosted up. So I'm going to talk about that. Everybody's on the Bills. Like I said, if you paid attention Sunday, we talked about Josh Allen. They're setting him up to be the MVP. He gets the first game of the year. They get like 5 or 6 primetime games. They're the odds to win the Super Bowl. Everything is set up for Josh Allen to take the reins away from Patrick Mahomes. Can he do it? I don't know. Can he take the reins away from Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. But I do like your predictions. Bills versus boys. Bills were by far the most popular. I think like out of 96, they were like including like it was like almost half, like 40 something had like the Bills, I think, in them one way or another, which is pretty nuts. Sam, anything you want to say before we close out the show, my man?
I like your take about what you said about the league setting up Josh Allen for MVP. And usually, I mean, you had this take last year that just blew my mind about how the league was setting up the Rams to win. They want the Rams to win because they want LA. They want their $1 billion stadium to be cool and everything. And that just blew my mind. And hey, guess what? You were right. And so it's like kind of one of these things. If you can find those little hints where it's like the league is pushing one way, if the league wills it, it will happen.
Absolutely, man. That's a great point. I told they pander to it. They got the only week off out of all the NFL teams that had to go through COVID. So I just thought that was really interesting. And yeah, you're right, man. There's an underlying motive for everybody. The commissioner has an underlying motive. The schedule makers have an underlying motive. The bookies have an underlying motive. But If they're trying to set up this storyline, you better believe that they're going to do what they can to make it happen. One way to do that is to give Josh Allen an MVP. Oh, by the way, the Bills are building a brand new stadium. They're probably going to need to generate some money for that. So, yeah, keep that in mind. I do want to say, don't forget, guys, you can and you will, if you win one of these sweet shirts I got to represent at the expo. I might beef it up this year. Handmade tie-dye. My wife and I make this. There's all kinds of prizes. Sam, dude, I really appreciate you being on the show, man. It's an honor to have you. You know, your friends are live, like you said. You share a tent with somebody, you know, you're friends. That's just how it is. You want, you know, you're not really on Twitter. Do you want people to find you on Instagram, or are you happy to just join the show? That's up to you.
I'm just happy to join the show. I recently just made a TikTok for my dog. It's Gumbo's Beanhole. if you're on TikTok, you know, give that a follow. It's just a bunch of dog things.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog lovers. I signed up for a best ball charity league to benefit dogs in the UK. So I know there's a couple of people that joined off of there. So once again, that was, say that again.
Gumbo's Beanhole.
Okay, no spaces, just Gumbo's Beanhole, no apostrophe. Just
Gumbo's Beanhole.
I love it, Sam. You're so creative, man. You're so witty. I really appreciate you being on the show. Hey, Sam's a huge soccer guy. That's football for some of you. And he's got the World Cup already lined out. He's got a spreadsheet made. He sent it to me. It's amazing. I put on my bets via that group basing. I put some group bets. I put some finals bets. So he was a former soccer coach, former soccer player. So we're going to be talking World Cup at some point. Sam, like I said, the cue of the lighting has moved from one side of the screen to the other. So I think our golden hour is about done. 32 minutes. Hey, listen, everybody, Brother Raj, JC, any of you guys commenting, anybody watching, would love to have you on the show. Talk about your team just like we did Sammy's. He's going to be coming for it. If you're in the Danny Trejo league, man, that's a tough league. That's my league. Sam's in that league. You got to be bringing your A game. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening, Sam, as always. Thank you for being a part of this. We will be keeping in touch. And guys, be safe to each other. Have fun out there. Enjoy football. Like Sam said, it's just a game. We all want to win. We're all competitive. So let's have fun with it. And go Pack, go, baby.